I think it's messed up that like a few clickbait points go get 1 million views for people that's emotionally touched because they had a situation ship that went that direction, and like, you know what, yeah, you're right, and all of y'all like that. That's stupid. That
Cookie, I got
doesn't
a
make
question.
sense.
I'm
So I
watching.
try to steer clear of those kinds of situations and those kinds of people, because at the end of the day, like, everybody get their own chance with me. Now, what I meant by me not dating, like me opening my horizon, that's because of my age. I turned 43 on Thursday. So for me, I've been just coaching and teaching and coaching and teaching and going home and going to bed. So now I'm like, okay, for me to open up my percentile, because black women outnumber white men. See, I think about this shit logically, and I think that's what people need to do. I need to start opening my mind to other races, because probably most of the black beautiful men that I love to sniff when they sweat are already taken. So it isn't an issue that I have with black men. It's just an issue that I have with people that are so easily fucking guided by somebody that they ain't even never met. That's like some follower shit, and I don't want to be with a man like that anyway.
Final frontier for us in this community. We have a host of issues. We have a host of issues. But our biggest issue is this perceived gender war, because it divides us in half. It literally splits us right down the middle. Black men, the qualities that you have that will make you a success in the street, a success in athletics, will also make you a success in education. But we have to get it quick. And I get it. I get it. Women ain't gonna fuck with us if we don't got the money. If you put the phone down, all your information, first of all, just be honest about this. All of the information you're receiving from the world via the internet is being pushed to you through an algorithm, not the natural path of things. Your mentality is not the same mentality as mine, because I got my experience in the world with actual people. So I know the shit that you're saying just isn't true. And if a girl your age is trying to tell you to get money and do all these things, she's receiving the same information as you. You're both being lied to. And you're both believing in the lie. And the lie is being reinforced by the music, and the lie is being reinforced by the algorithm. This phenomenon of men, of women only seeking men for money, is a very new concept. My parents was married. My dad was broke. First of all, what's up with this black community that we've had to overcome all this financial poverty, but we only will get with men if they got money? That doesn't make sense, nigga. How were you born? If we've always been financially in this country in last place, but our women will only fuck with niggas who got money, how are any of us here? How? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense, because they want you to aspire to degeneracy. And now you're seeking equity and degeneracy. Got to get your mind right, man. All this shit is systemic. The algorithm is being pushed to you to push an agenda. Because the second that you start hating women and you start getting into that red pill content, all the white red pill niggas are also racist. You think that's a mistake? They're trying to push you into conservatism, because the more conservative you are, the more likely you are to fall for religious dogma and to follow orders blindly. And then you might as well just go ahead and call yourself MAGA. You don't question authority. You exalt people just because they have money. You think because they have money that they're more intelligent than you. Money does not equate to intelligence.
Why did Ish face pop up at the end?
Is the gender war holding the black community back? Go ahead, Swing.
No, I don't believe the gender war is holding the black community back. I think it's a product of how we feel about each other. Even I know a lot of people always like to say, well, the algorithm. If you feel the way that you feel, and you go into a space where you get to vent and talk to those who also feel the same way that you feel, it's more than enough of them to where the issue isn't just the internet. People are experiencing this type of stuff in real life, and they're going online and expressing and telling their stories about their experiences. So to say, oh man, all of this is manufactured is BS. Because if it was manufactured, then we would see a lot of this online, but we would still see a 70% marriage rate. But we don't. You see a 30% single rate, and the birth rates falling through the floor right now. They're not getting married. They're not talking to each other. They're not going on dates with one another. They're not experiencing one another. They're not getting married, and they're not having kids as a result of it. So I think the internet is a reflection of what we're actually going through. Is it a little extreme where you do every single do everything have its fringe or its extremists? Yes. So if you go extremely red pill, yes, you're going to see a lot of volatile stuff. Just like if you go to the extreme feminist ideology. But I don't think any of us on this panel are extremely red pill or extremely feminist either. And yet we're here having this conversation. Half of us are married up here.
I think the extremists that we do see on the internet, they damn near set the standard or expectation of what people are receiving in their algorithm. Even for him to bring up the algorithm as if it's something that's bad, I think that people forget that you choose your algorithm. Whatever it is that you are getting in your algorithm, you're getting that because that's what you're looking for. That's what you're giving your attention to. If you want to, I think the red pill is, what is the red pill exactly?
Red pill is essentially it's supposed to be them understanding the truth about female nature and all of that, but it's actually a subset of the manosphere altogether. So, but okay. Like I said,
so the extreme of the red pill would be what someone would call misogynist, right? The extreme.
Yeah, the extreme will women definitely will try to take it to the extreme and say that red pill content is misogynist because it tells men to prioritize themselves because they say that they're the prize. If a man has to go work to build himself up to become a man that women want, he's the one putting the work in. While a woman was born with her value, the man has to actually go out and earn his. So that's a large subset of it. So that's why it comes across to so many women as the first thing they can do when they don't like something that's said that doesn't put them in a superior position is they call it misogynistic or they call it, you know what I'm saying, red pill.
Okay, so even in that case, right? If you had the two extremes, you have that, you have people that speak out against marriage, and then you have the opposite. You have people that want and promote healthy relationships and marriages. It's all about which side are you giving your attention to. So I do think, me personally, I do think that it's that it is manufactured, absolutely, in my opinion, just from what I see on the internet. Even with the Cheesecake Factory, right? We found out that was a fake video, but a lot of women came out and said, a nigga can't take me to the Cheesecake Factory, and they ran with it. So these extremes that we are exposed to in the internet world absolutely impacts what's happening in real life.
All right, it's on you, Hank.
I ain't talked in a minute, so I'm glad to be able to speak. So, Fizz, I don't understand why you said no, gender war is not a thing, but then everything you explained made it sound like gender war is part of the problem.
Sweeney said that.
Sweeney, I'm sorry. Sweeney,
wrong nigga with locks.
But everything you sit there and said made it sound like it is. Look, I don't agree with that man said. Like I said earlier, I think either he's a man who's stay in the friend zone and just wants the little tack heads around him, or he's a dick sucker. Either way, it's bad. But as far as anything else, man, look, yeah, I think the gender war is a part of the reason why men and women are not together. I think it is, and people who think red pill are extreme. I don't think red pill extreme. Look, not everything red pill was about the women. Some of the thing was about self improvement. Like I think what Shannon Mistake was trying to put out there, be the best version you can of yourself. So okay, well that's what some of these red pills are preaching and protesting, trying to be the best version of yourself. And so if that means calling yourself saying you're the priority of your child, then so be it. You know, you ought to have some type of self confidence. That's how you're going to build yourself up. Be the best for yourself. You got to be confident in yourself. Have a certain level of arrogance to the point. So I don't see a total problem with the situation. Now, when it goes to the extreme, like to the point where they're talk about marriage, don't ever get married. I don't believe in that. If that's what red pills preaching, I don't agree with that part. I think that's bad because that's the only way we're going to actually build wealth, and by coming together and building something, a community as we all talk about doing. You got to create families. In order to create families, you got to have a husband and wife in order to do it. Not a man and a man and a woman and a woman. That's not going to help us. I'll leave it there.
Hey, Hank, I just wanted to make sure I not corrected you on this, but kind of clear the air. When I said that I said that I don't think the gender war is holding back the Black community, because I think it's a product of what the Black community is already doing that's holding ourselves back. It's just a byproduct of us not coming together, not the actual cause of us not coming together or holding us back. If that makes sense.
I may be the only person.
It doesn't, because to say it's not, man. I don't see why, because we can't even get past the minute shit. We're so far behind in some of our talking points and stuff to talk about other things like building together, bringing families, maybe homesteading together. Families come together. You get with your cousins and maybe your brother and your sister, and y'all get a big old piece of property, a house, and just build on that. We can't even get to that point. Why? Because we can't even get along. One of them don't believe in 50-50. The other one's a man need to be a provider. Oh, you just being a journeyman or a regular plumber is not good enough to be a master plumber. Yeah, we can't even get past that shit. So what makes you think that we're going to be able to get further along in the situation if we can't come together? So why? Because we got this gender war. You got social media. People watching more YouTube than they watching TV. They're listening to YouTube more than they pay attention on the radio. Man, look, it's just the way it is right now. So if that's the case, a lot of viewers are watching this shit and believing this shit and running with this shit. Now, whether it's propaganda, the boogeyman, who we all know is a white man, is doing it, I don't know. Can we use that for a reason? No, we can't use that for an excuse, because we actually experience some of this bullshit out here. We actually experiencing some of the stuff that some of these men are talking about or have an issue with, or some of these women are experiencing some of these things that the women are talking about or have an issue with. So we can't sit there and say it's not an issue and it's not holding us back, because I think it is.
I'm go to Cookie, and then I'm gonna come to you real dope.
Good afternoon. Sorry, I was out. My birthday brunch. Sorry. So,
Oh, happy birthday.
thank
Happy
you.
birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Happy
Gemini one.
birthday.
Thank you. I'm 43 today. Oh, no, not today. The
Did you have
29th.
cheesecake?
No.
What's wrong with a little cheesecake?
Huh?
What's wrong with a little cheesecake? Ain't nothing wrong with
That's
it.
just not where I went. I went to an Italian spot. They had really good. They
A
had
brunch?
a Wagyu chicken fried
Yo,
steak.
stop trying to make her lose her point, yo.
The
Man, you just
point
saying that because you're
is,
ready to go.
the point
I
I
ain't gonna
was
lose my
gonna
point.
make
I'm gonna lose
was
my point.
that the gender war is online. I don't know about y'all. A lot of y'all are married or with significant others. So outside though, like I feel like, yeah, I've been drinking. Outside, I feel like I need to tell y'all that men don't act like that in person. Like, it's full cap. So whatever this is, this facade going on online, like on internet and arguing with women, it's the Negroes that stay addicted to their phones. Like, men outside don't act like that. They don't blame women. There's no real gender war going on between two people. that are trying to have a real connection. And we were talking about this on Wednesday, like actually talking to people like in their face or on the phone. Like there's no gender war. It's still the chemistry of man, woman, no matter what race it is. But I used to prefer black men before I got on here. Then I was just like, yeah, I don't know. But still giving them a chance. But in person, it is not as like brutal as people are making it seem. So I would stress that everybody just like kind of go outside and make sure you're talking to people in person and not to idiots that worship more idiots on the internet.
Like, how would you say that black men online influence your dating life outside if you're telling us that this doesn't exist outside?
They don't.
So,
I
Well,
so you
never
shouldn't
said
have an
that.
issue dating black men outside then.
I have a I don't discriminate.
But
Hold on,
I
Viz.
think
Hold
that
on.
I think
Hold on, Viz. Let me go to real quick. Then we come to you.
for sure.
It's on you, bro.
Nah, I might have a different opinion than most of the guys on the panel when it comes to this. I'm not a red pill. So when it comes to red pill, I think it's sort of like feminism, and it's a response to something that was real, and it's just got drawn out, and it's like a trauma. It's a trauma response for the most part. Like the basis of it of this is just the truth that we identify about women. I don't have a problem with that because that's the way that I talk. But I watch a lot of red pill because the people who I like to consume on social media kind of like go in that category. And a lot of the people inside of the comment section and a lot of the people who support the channel and pay for the super chats and stuff like that, a lot of those guys are, got a lot of trauma and a lot of the things that some of the guys do, like the part that they support about the channel is like the most hyperbolic things that the creator says. That's the stuff that they really love and enjoy. So I'm not really a red pill guy. I do think it's kind of a radical space, or at least it's become a radical space like feminism. I'm not a feminism guy. So that's kind of like my position when it comes to that. But when it comes to like relationships and things like that, I think you can be in a relationship with somebody and more than likely you're going to need counseling at some point because most people cannot communicate how they feel to each other, and most people can't receive what's being said to them. We all feel attacked, and it's the same thing on the internet. And as a whole, like men and women are not being able to communicate to each other about common sense things. If like if we just had some big therapists, then we probably would be a lot better off. But I think that's just the issue. The same way if you get into a relationship, you'll need a therapist most likely. It's just the same thing. We're not hearing each other. That's all.
Yeah, I think that we can't negate what's the internet world to the real world, because everyone that's on the internet is actually in the real world. So when they get off the internet, they're going to take whatever ideas or rhetorics they have, and they're going to take that outside with them. Now, I agree. I don't personally deal with most women or men that conduct themselves in the manner that they do on that we see often on the internet. But we can't say that that's not a real thing, because that actually is a real thing. They're just not in the environments that you or me may be in, but they're definitely outside somewhere. So they're going through whatever they're experiencing, or maybe they have never experienced it and they only hear what they're hearing on the internet. They go out into the real world and now they create that experience for them to be able to come back to the internet and say, oh yeah, this happened to me too. So we gotta keep it a buck in that sense, and not ignore the connection that is actually there, because I think that's a part of the problem as well. If we ignore it, then the problem is just going to continue to grow.
So I would like to say that I think we're being a little biased here, right? Because let's keep it real. Most of our interactions with the opposite sex is normally on a relationship or interpersonal level, right? Where, for instance, a lot of the men that Cookie might encounter, not we all say what we say online, and we probably still don't act the same way when we go and try to talk to a woman on the streets. 90% of the shit we say on here, we would not bring this up in a conversation if we were trying to talk to a woman on the streets. However, what I've noticed, I've seen these conversations pop up in real life. If you let men and women freely talk about the problems in relationships, the problems that they have with one another, and you get 10, 15 people in a room and get to talking freely about this, all of these same conversations happen in real life. They bring them up in real life. So I don't think it's fair for us to look at and be like, man, I don't see these conversations happen in real life. Yeah, but if you gave people the space to talk about it, there's a reason why you see thousands of likes, millions of likes, and millions of these pages being followed by millions of people. It's because people resonate with these conversations. There's a reason why tonight's conversation has thousands of people that watch them and come to their shows, and they stand up with their microphone and they ask about their problems and they have a conversation about them. I've seen people, I don't know if y'all ever played the card games tonight conversation. Have y'all ever used them card games in the middle of a party and put that card on the table and y'all started hearing what everybody had to say about each other? All the same shit we say online, you hear it in real life if you actually had a conversation with people.
I'm gonna go to mistake. Well, all right, go quick.
Nah, man, I just think that when you put yourself in those types of rooms, which goes back to like what I said earlier about, do I really want to be with a black dude right now? Like that's what happens when you, somebody once told me, like, if your accomplishments in one room make you feel like you're bragging, then you're in the wrong room. I take that with me everywhere I go. So like if my positions on love make people offensive, or they get like, oh, that ain't how that really go, and da 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 da, I'm in the wrong room. Okay, I don't need to be in that room with y'all because y'all bitter, and I can't deal with that. So I'm not saying that it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist in certain rooms. And if there's women out there that like really ain't trying to hear that shit, like I would recommend that you just change the room that you in, because like at the end of the day, if you're looking for a certain thing, and this man has been poisoned by women that he chose, just like with women, you've been poisoned by a woman that you chose, and now you have these fucked up thoughts about how black women are or black men are, and I can't be around you because that's not how I judge people at the end of the day. So I think that it's kind of fucked up. Sorry, I was trying not to cuss so much, Jay. I think it's messed up that like a few clickbait points go get 1 million views for people that's emotionally touched because they had a situation ship that went that direction, and like, you know what, yeah, you're right, and all of y'all like that. That's stupid. That
Cookie, I got
doesn't
a
make
question.
sense.
Hold on,
So I
Smitty.
try to stay clear of those kinds of situations and those kinds of people, because at the end of the day, like, everybody get their own chance with me. Now, what I meant by me not dating, like me opening my horizon, that's because of my age. I turned 43 on Thursday. So for me, I've been just coaching and teaching and coaching and teaching and going home and going to bed. So now I'm like, okay, for me to open up my percentile, because black women outnumber white men. See, I think about this shit logically, and I think that's what people need to do. I need to start opening my mind to other races, because most of the black beautiful men that I love to sniff when they sweat are already taken. So it isn't an issue that I have with black men. It's just an issue that I have with people that are so easily fucking guided by somebody that they ain't even never met. That's like some follower shit, and I don't want to be with a man like that anyway.
Cookie, I got a question for you. Do you have a lot of lady friends? When you went out to brunch, you had a
You
lot of
know
ladies
what?
come up there.
Absolutely, I do. They just in other cities.
Well, fair enough. When y'all get together,
Uh-huh.
have all of y'all, if you asked each of them about the whole conversation surrounding submission,
Mm-hmm.
do you think you would hear a lot of the same things you've heard said about submission online?
You know what? I got a homegirl. I'm not gonna say a name because you can Google her. Let me see how I'm gonna say this so I don't get in trouble with my real friends. Actually, it's two of them. One of them is she has a child with a very, very good man, and she don't want to get married. I'm like, what are you doing? Now I can't speak for all black women. That's why I said I got to keep myself out the rooms. She don't want to get married, and I'm like, but you living with him? Like, what? You got a son?
Why?
You know?
Do you want to
Yeah,
get married?
no, I'm the one. I'm the friend that's telling them you're wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you doing? And then I have one friend that doesn't realize that she's overbearing.
Do you
So
want to get married yourself?
me?
Yeah.
Yeah, and what I've realized about me is that I work too much. So what I'm about to do is cut down some of my work.
I wasn't gonna ask. I wasn't. But my point that I was gonna make is that if your friend is someone who doesn't have the same goals that you have, doesn't that mean you're in the wrong room? As per the logic you used earlier.
No, but I'm
Because
I'm in that room only. Sorry, my sister in here. I'm only in that room probably once a year though.
well, that's fine. But like
That's
to
the
your point,
homie.
your logic was that that you're in the wrong room if the people in that room don't agree with you, which was the gist of what you said seconds ago. So now I'm asking, do you hold your friends that you know just because she's your friend, does she get a pass for not agreeing with
No,
you?
she gets held accountable. I'm not
Wait,
gonna dump my friend though. Like, what are we talking about here?
well, you said that if you're in the wrong
You
room,
can't
you would
never
leave that
equate a room
room.
full of
Your
strangers
logic would
to
mean that
a
if someone
friend.
doesn't agree with you, that you would leave that person. I'm just seeing where the logic breaks down
You
here. That's all.
cannot equate.
I guess a sister chime in.
Yeah, no, she's
She should
right though. I don't
she should
equate my
cam up.
friends to strangers though. Like, what are we talking about? What's the question?
Okay.
Fucking, because she could pop up if y'all wanted to, but that's who took me out. But what I'm saying is, my friends and strangers aren't the same thing. I'm trying to teach my
Mhm.
friends and school them on what, hey, you're wrong, and hold them accountable. Y'all always talking about the sister code. And when I tell you I'm one of the ones that's like not really doing the and against the sister code, you're telling me that I'm in the wrong room. No, if I'm in a strange ass room with people that I don't know and they're talking, they're battling out about this stuff, I'm leaving. But if I'm in a room with my friends and I know that their path is not necessarily correct, I'm
Mm,
going to correct my friends. I've known her since I was 18. She's not affecting me in any way.
mm.
I see
Yeah.
her once every summer.
Yeah. I do
I
have a
got a
question
question, JR, if I
I got
could.
a question for the panel.
Um,
Is black media helping us or just pushing stereotypes?
Pushing stereotypes.
Well, they destroying us.
They
The
can't help us because
shade room, the world star. Well, that shit is destroying us every day.
they can't
Every
help
night.
us because if they helped us, then they would be making us better, and it's directly against their business model. No one clicks on black people doing great things. No one, the kid that just made the condoms that'll tell you if someone's got an STD, that gets 500 likes. The one about the girl who never used the condom and is burning dudes on purpose gets 2 million likes. So nothing positive that they highlight is going to help them get those clicks and views and ad dollars. So I don't think that any media is going to be able to help black people until we choose to stop consuming it. The same way we boycotted Target
But
because they got rid
wait.
of.
See,
Let me
I got
finish.
here late.
You'll
Can I
have your
talk?
time to finish. No. So and then what you'll
Because
get to do
no,
is
Hold on,
you'll
hold on.
get
One country.
you'll get to,
He was speaking. You got to be respectful.
if we boycott like Target the same way, if we boycott the Shade Room like we did Target, or if we boycott World Star Takeout or whatever that shit, World Star Hip Hop, the same way we do, and they see what happens when the people that they're talking about stop participating with them, then I think we'd be able to affect change. But until then, it's just going to be in these echo chambers of people just saying the same thing over and over again. Like it's obvious that black media doesn't help black people because look where black people are.
All right, let's go to straight like that and then mistaken. Straight like that. Black media
yeah,
helping us with stereotypes.
I appreciate that. Do they help? Maybe. I think there's some good content out there. I think what you're doing, JR, is pretty good, and I like what you do. So I'm not going to put everybody under the same bracket. I think some, not all. But I think to the last brother, Willie's point, it's really up to the consumer. You know, we rather tune into the Diddy trial. I'm guilty of it too. So I'm you know, holding myself accountable. So I'll tune into the Diddy trial rather than, as the brother says, find something more positive to put my energy in. So to answer your question, I would say sort of. It's kind of hard for me to quantify all of it, but I would say yes, it does have an influence, but I'm not going to say all of it's bad. But I wanted to say one thing, JR, before I move on to Cookie. Happy birthday. Glad that you had a good birthday. You know what I mean? I listened to a lot that you said, and I'm not going to really go back and forth with you on it, but the whole concept of you dating outside your race because you feel like there's not a lot of available black men, I promise you, there's not a lot of available white men either. So you're going to have to double up on that too.
The stats show that there's, if I open up my horizons, there's more available men. That I didn't say that I was moving because y'all ain't shit. I said that if you look at the numbers, the men that I would like, the stats are low. The probability for me is low. So if you open up the horizons, my probability raises when it comes to marriage. That's all I was saying. I wasn't
No,
saying that.
I agree with I agree with the numbers. I'm saying if you decide to date outside your race, you're still going to lose anyway.
Bitch, I don't
You might
lose nothing. I ain't never
you
lost
might
nothing in my life. You better
you
Google
might as
me.
well double up with
Nah,
a black.
bruh. I've never lost anything in my life.
Well,
Okay.
that's a lie. You've lost. That's a lie.
No, I haven't.
Everyone's
You better
yes,
Google
you have.
me. Nah,
I do.
Google
You've
me.
lost dodgeball, poker games, card games. You've lost Monopoly before. Stop playing.
Go ahead, Mistaken.
I don't know what's the question at this point.
Yeah.
The question is black media helping us or just pushing stereotypes?
Black media. I say yes, it's both. I think we give them a lot to push forward in terms of how we move. So you only need a clip to perpetuate whatever it is, whatever agenda you have set. And a lot of us are on social media, onto looking for the 15 minutes of fame, doing ratchet stuff. And even though that's not the vast majority, like when you leave your house and see that, but if you spend so much of your time on social media, you're going to begin to believe that this is what happens. Like everybody in these spaces have that I've heard thus far said, well, I know Shan said it. I think I've heard Cookie say it. Hink, I know you said it before. Like when we leave these spaces, that our world is totally different than what's going on in here. The people that we're around, as soon as you walk outside, you don't see people twerking on top of a car. Like you're not seeing these things on a day-to-day basis in your own environment. But we like to video record ourselves doing ratchet stuff and then say that the media has a motive, a message, but we're giving them the content, and then we're clicking on the content, we're watching the content, and then we have conversations about the content, and it's just a cycle. So, but when we talk about, not being the tech plumber and being the master plumber, we have a whole debate about how we shouldn't do that. So none of that just makes sense to me. So yes, we're pushing the stereotypes and partaking into the stereotype.
Can I say
hey, Cookie, they put a word out there. They said, tell your sister to cam up. I know you had asked about it, so tell her.
Should I send her the link?
Yeah, you can just send it
I don't know if y'all want that, but
yeah,
okay.
send a link.
Okay.
I got another question for the panel. Does the black community love conditionally based on agreement? Go ahead, Jay. You want to say something?
That question before the last one. Before that one. Talking about the gender war. Is the gender war okay? So with the video you posted up there with Homeboy talking, I do believe that he has a point, you know, in terms of the algorithm. I feel like he does have a point with the gender war, because I feel like with being angry, you know, from a relationship going bad, you know what I mean, happiness, I feel like there are different stages in your life where, you know, you experience it and then you move on from it. You know what I'm saying? Happiness is not something that you live in. Happiness is something you experience from time to time, like truly being happy. These are stages. I feel like being a survivor, you know what I mean? Like people who are out there surviving. Survival is temporary. You know, you're in a state where you're doing stuff that you wouldn't normally do, moving how you wouldn't normally move because you're surviving. But then you graduate from that. So like with the red pill space, you know what I'm saying? When I first became aware of it, it was like probably most people after a breakup, you know what I'm saying? You just experience a loss, you know what I'm saying? A death of a relationship feels like, you know, a loss. So, you know, you searching, yo, what do I do next? And you find that space. You're not supposed to live in that space. You know what I mean? And I think the positive part of it is improving yourself. You know what I'm saying? Getting outside, man, getting, you know what I'm saying, some grass under your feet, exercising, doing a lot of that stuff that you probably neglected while you were giving to that relationship. But I don't think you're supposed to live in that space. And what you have is a lot of people that are receiving that information that don't know how to live. You know what I'm saying? So they stay there and they're living there now. So they're on the internet every day looking at every piece from people who haven't lived themselves. You know, they just reading books. You know what I'm saying? Or they're just looking at people that were in the space longer than them and listen to what they're saying. And it's just, you know, nobody's really helping each other. You know what I mean? Because if you have these young people coming up, they're going to think, I'm not going to try anything. You know what I'm saying? You can't be stubborn in your ways to the point where you don't allow people to make mistakes. You know what I'm saying? Like life, being humans, it's about living. It's about trying stuff. It's about making mistakes. The way that you preach to these dudes, they gonna be living on the sidelines their whole life, holding their nuts, talking about a bitch better not say this, a bitch better not do that. You know what I mean? Like, step your foot on the field, dog. Get knocked on your ass. Live a little life. Stop being a bitch. You know what I mean? Like, because life is about not being a bitch, trying to get out there and see what you could deal with. And in the midst of all that chaos, you learn some shit and you're able to apply. You know, you receive data that will help you be better prepared. But when you have, you know, a 23-year-old out there or a 21-year-old, and when he was speaking to the algorithm saying that men and women are listening to the same algorithm, what he was saying was, you have men out there at 23 thinking that they got to make 500,000 a year at the age of 23 just to deal with a woman who's 22, 21, asking, oh, I'm not dating a dude unless he make 100K a year or 300K a year. When I was 21, get the fuck out of here. 100K a year, 21 years old. I mean, it's people doing it, but that's not the reality of it. You know what I mean? So you have everybody out there asking for these astronomical requests from people that are not even capable. You know what I mean? Niggas don't even know how to wash their ass right, and you asking them for, you better make this a year. Like, it's just not reality. So that's what the algorithm does. It puts it in their heads. You know what I'm saying? You got people watching these videos thinking that they gotta ask for this. Like you, I think it was Viz that mentioned with the Cheesecake Factory. Like that was a real discussion on everybody's timeline for like a week and a half, 2 weeks. People was out there with switchblades, fist fighting over this shit. Oh, cheesecake. Who the hell don't like no cheesecake, bro? You
I
telling me
think
we
this
can have a damn Cheesecake Factory, yo?
I think this
You
was a
can't
valid
get no
red pill
dulce
argument.
de leche cheesecake. I'm a loser if I want to take like, you
I
know what I'm
think
saying?
Cheesecake paid for that viral video, bro. I think that was a marketing ploy.
That's smart.
To
That
get
was
more,
brilliant.
because bro, cheesecake is fire. Like it's fire.
Yo, that was
You
brilliant,
know,
man. They should have tapped in if they didn't. But my thing is, I feel like the algorithm definitely has something to do with it. I think black media taps into it, and I think people just take the different stages in their life and try to front like you have to be at this stage, man. Life is a process, bro.
Yeah.
You're gonna be the one doing the step and you're gonna be the one getting stepped on. But the point is, yo, you gotta step.
I think we blaming the algorithm, but I think the algorithm does nothing but take what we it just takes what we created. Like for example, like I remember we was all in high school and we know the girls who was getting picked up in cars, right?
Like Tyson up some green onion or something. What's that?
Yeah, somebody
Oh, that's Willie.
we was all in high schools and we know the girls who was dealing with guys who had cars. And we was like, yo, we don't got no cars. Like, how we gonna compete? But I think that's the reality is like girls are dating men and dealing with men who like they dealing with scammers. They experiencing the basketball players. They experiencing these guys for a second. And then, you know, other guys feel like they got to compete with that, especially the women that they want, the women who they got the crushes on and stuff like that. So I don't think it's just the algorithm. I think this is legitimately something that we actually have been dealing with. Like it's a lot of like any man who's 27 and is dating a 21-year-old, the guys that's in her age group can't compete with that. You know, he got so much time on him, and men date younger women typically, you know. So I think it is a reality that men are dealing with that, but we just take your time, you know.
Well, I'm gonna go to Cookie, but before I do, I think we got to understand that the information is valuable. Information is not going nowhere. Information is going to keep continually floating around. It's up to the individual as far as what they do with it. So if people learn how to have patience with information and know where to apply it, then I think they would be better people when it comes to digesting all of these things. I think there's some value in the red pill content, but a lot of people just kind of take things at face value and they just apply it. You got to understand what's in there that you need. One of the things that I've heard and I've seen with people is just the whole understanding woman's nature. Is one of the messages that I've seen pushed that was kind of positive. It kind of give you an understanding. Now, is it going to be the same for every woman? No. So you have to know what to do with information when you are in the room with said individual, and ain't no telling what you're going to get. So you have to know how to apply the information, and the information that you just heard yesterday might not be the information you need to apply to that situation. So you have to take all of this information and only use what you need. You got to be able to decipher what's positive, what's negative, what's toxic, what's not toxic, what's going to benefit you. If you need to apply pressure here, if you need to relax here, if you need to do more here, it's information. There's value in it, but I just think people just don't understand what to do with it.